What is the most toxic thing a parent can say to a child? I'm tired of pretending to love you. Talk shit about the other parent then compare you to them. You're just like your father. I wish you were never born. Life would be better without you. You are the reason for our misery. When I was 11 I overheard my mother telling someone that at least my looks meant she didn't have to worry about me being molested or raped. That fucked me up for years. So you're saying that I'm a bad parent and response to any form of help seeking or constructive criticism was the worst for me. Insulting your intelligence is a horrible thing for a parent to do. Something where if a friend or stranger had said it you might just laugh, shrug it off. But your own parent saying it? A good parent should stay away from anything that can ruin your self-esteem because they hold a lot more power than they tend to realize. Your uncle wouldn't mess with you if you didn't walk around the house like a slut. Not told to me. But a childhood friend. Her uncle was arrested a few years after that, but the thing that hurt her the worst is that her mother assumed it was her fault. Damn. This thread is just validating that some people should not be parents. I'm going to throw myself off a building. You all hate me anyway. And 100 variations of that. My drunken father once told me, "You'll never be the man that I am." I remember thinking, "You're damn right I won't be." You're the reason why your dad and I almost divorced. I wish you'd commit suicide. My dad. Constantly comparing you with your older siblings. And extremely different treatment. It makes you feel inferior to them and like no matter how much you try or do, it will never be enough. I don't believe you. When the school told her I'd been sexually assaulted. 1. You are useless. 2. No man would ever want to marry you. 3. I wish I never had you. G. Thanks mom for showing me I am worth something. Sarcasm, woman with light skin tone making a cross sign with her arms. 2 decades have gone by and it still pinches me today. The list goes on, but those 3 statements were repeatedly said. I would never treat my children like that. Hell. When I have kids they are not visiting their grandparents without supervision. This time I will stand up to them. I have nothing to lose this time. It's been 20 years. Better late than never. I kicked your mom out and I can kick you out as well. I wish you were the one who died, not your father. It may not be as harsh as other things stated, but the dreaded "it's all in your head, you are just imagining it." As it turned out I wasn't imagining it, and now I struggle to differentiate what's real and what's not because I was led to believe I thought I was imagining things constantly. You're worthless. We're moving and you're not welcome. This is what my dad said to me while blackout drunk. After he took my sister's pizza that I made. Ate it in front of me. And then threw the pizza at me after I asked him why the fuck he's like that and walked away. We were supposed to be moving to a new place the next couple weeks after this fight. I never wanted to have kids with your dad. He forced me to have you. Okay. Over and over again for years and years. Any accomplishment, any trial passed, any challenge won. Just okay. My mum told me I deserved nothing in life because I forgot to do the dishes before she came home, lol. My heart breaks for each and every commenter on this thread. I am so sorry for your pain. And I hope you can overcome. We made you so your brother would have someone to play with. If you're so depressed, why aren't you cutting? Cut deeper and kill yourself. She also forced me to sleep outside regularly. Dad let me in sometimes after midnight. She starts screaming and crying that she knows my dad and I are having an affair or he wouldn't have let me in. Oh, and ugly remarks about my appearance. How no one will ever love me or be friends with me. Which I guess she's right about that one. I gave up everything I liked for you. 95? Why not 100? Why can't you be like so-and-so's child? They do one impressive thing. A bit subtler than the top comments here, but can eat a child's self-worth and guilt them well into adulthood and pass by standard alarms. Edit. Yes. Asian parents, haha. I blame but don't hate them. It's a struggle when your default behavior is to not think you have worth when achieving something, as for some reason there's always more you could have done, and what I just finished isn't actually that impressive in my mind. It is. And will be. A battle to unlearn, and I wish all those who share this experience the best in their journey of unlearning and self-accepting. I wish I aborted you. There were other things, but that one really sticks in my head. Edit. Can we please stop with the LOL you the lucky one abortion is murder comments? You wrecked my marriage number. He went to jail for sexually abusing me for 7 years. Age 411. Look, X-kid is doing it better than you. Look, that kid is X-year-old and they can do it. Does hitting your kid count? Because that's how my dad talked to me. Threatening suicide when you try to set a boundary. There's other things. Arguably worse. But I don't feel comfortable sharing them. After I got accepted to my dream college, my mom told me I'm too stupid to actually go and succeed. I graduated high school with honors. But I thought she was right. I dropped out before I even went. Still regret it. Not the most toxic by far, but potentially the most common. Making fun of your kid for making a change in their life for the better. I was always antisocial and the complete opposite of athletic. When I began to try and work out to gain some muscle, I got teased by my parents. All that did was discourage me and make me want to quit. This could go for anything. Is your kid antisocial? The WLLOOKWHO decided to LEAVETHIKAVA ND join us is fucking toxic and just encourages them to stay in their room. If your kid decides to make a positive change in their life, don't fucking discourage them so you can get an easy laugh. You're a useless disappointment. Do you think you'll ever amount to anything? You're pathetic. You're like a tiny little ant. I could destroy you so easily. I don't deserve you. I'm too good of a parent for you. You're an abuser. Edit. Damn, this blew up. In my experience, divorced parents that say stuff like, don't talk about that to your other parent. Tell your other parent this. Your other parent is trying to manipulate you. You see what other parent did? I'm not saying you should hate them. But isn't bit fucked up that they did that? It really screws with the kid's head. If you're ever going through a divorce and have children, please find a way to sort your shit with your former spouse without involving your children more than necessary. I am not asking you to do it. It is an order. Why did I give birth to you? I wish you were never born. You are ruining my life. Or you ruined my life. How dare you disobey me? You are a disappointment. Or any insult tbh. Or comparing you to other kids. Or to your siblings. When I was your ages was 98 pounds. Say it, son. I'm pussy. I'm a fucking pussy. Say it. I'm a worthless sack of shit that amounts to nothing. Fucking zero. Nothing. Say it. Yeah, I had a fun childhood, LMAO. That I'm fucking useless and can't do shit because I couldn't open a jar of tomato sauce for my mom at 1 a.m. We think you'll be pregnant before you turn 18. This was when I was 15 and still a virgin. By the time we were your age we had our careers sorted. That's all well and good, but it's not 30 years ago. B, university isn't free like it was in the 70s. C, jobs are a lot more competitive, and D, the world has been on lockdown for a year. How am I supposed to get a career sorted? Deleted. Look at Sarah over there. You should be more like her. I have some speaking problems where I can't motivate my mouth opening enough to let the words out. One day in an argument with my father, he told me that I should learn to speak. That really hurts, especially from your father. Most of the things people have contributed are insults or direct attacks. But I think probably the most toxic thing a parent can say to a child is any form of, "Nobody will ever love you as much as I do," or "I'm the only one who really loves you." Because it's the psychological equivalent of a bear trap. Its purpose isn't just to hurt the kid, but to keep them from ever leaving. Its purpose is to convince the kid that there's no point in trying to escape abuse. Questioning my father on why golden child is so obviously the golden child. Do you love him more, Dad? Dad, when you have kids you'll understand. Well, now I have kids and I still don't get it. You're the reason behind every problem in this family. Said to me word for word by my mother because I had a migraine and requested that they help keep my sisters as quiet as possible because I was hurting. I even asked to just be let out of the car so I could bus home, but they wouldn't let me do that either. They wouldn't help me with problems and they wouldn't let me help myself. How TF am I the reason behind every problem? You think I fucking want migraines? No, I fucking don't. It hurts so bad that it's increased my pain tolerance to the point that I have to have oozing pus sacs before I even notice an infection. I didn't ask for that amount of pain. If I had a choice I wouldn't hurt, but sure I caused every problem in the family by having a chronic illness. He would never do that. He was just kidding. When I told my mom my stepdad molested me. Happened again. And 20 years later after another sibling was molested. She believed them. The classics from my work as a voluntary well-being counselor. Why do you always make me sad? Or now you've made me sad. I wanted a better, nicer child. You don't really want this. I know you. You want, insert whatever parent wants. I'm so disappointed now. Plus combined with silent treatment and or crying. When child me asked his mother why she has her white powder stuff. I take it so I can deal with you lot. You lot referring to her own kids. I don't love you. My dad once told me he missed when I was a little kid. Because back then I was dependent on him and couldn't say no. I told that to a psychiatrist and her eyes damn near fell out of her face. Cue me screaming no. No. No sexual assault, apostrophe. Get the fuck out IDK. My mom drinks a lot and she got mad and kicked me and my sister out of the house saying y'all are the reason I've tried suicide. Dad, you ruined the family. When I finally had the guts to tell someone that my uncle, his sister's husband, was sexually abusing me for several years. We had you so you could donate organs, plasma etc to your sibling like that film My Sister's Keeper. You don't have the rights to privacy. You are a child. You have no rights. At least I'm putting a roof over your head. I wish I never had you. I sacrificed my life for you so you have to do what I said. Who cares what you think? You live under my roof. Thus you obey me. That and throwing a tantrum in front of the whole bus and my roommates in college. In separate occasions. It's your fault she died. My mum to me after my aunt passed away from a massive heart attack. After learning her son had raped me since I was 3. Thank you for the upvotes and comments. This was said to me age 7. The abuse continued till I was 13. Last year I severed contact with my whole family. It's been difficult but my mental health has improved immensely. I'm in a living supportive relationship and are expecting. I'm proud to know this child will not know the horrors of my family. After telling them about my sexual abuse at the hands of a family member, it happened 20 years ago. Get over it already. People deal with all sorts of shit. So what if he did things to you? If you didn't want it to happen you should have told somebody. When I spoke to the police. If you report it it'll rip this family apart and it'd most likely kill us. You can't do that. We will have to protect him. Prison and people who touch kids isn't a safe place. After the police spoke to them. He is our son too. We have to protect him, abuser, as well as you, victim. Bit dark but it's my reality. My mom laughed at me when I said that I most likely have a mental illness or a disorder. Then she asked me if my grades were okay and I said yes. Then she replied that it's okay. I've been asking her to get me therapy for almost 7 years now. If your parents comparing you to others or they are insensitive to their actions. My friend's parents always compare him, my friend, to his older brother. And it messes him up so much that he has low self-confidence. My friend's parents literally called her good for nothing throughout her childhood and put her through constant verbal abuse. She was a brilliant student in school and we were close friends. I didn't notice it at that time, but whenever she scored somewhat less marks on a test she would get really tensed up, and not in a normal way. It was straight up sweating and gasping for breath. Turns out it was her parents calling her good for nothing which caused this. We drifted apart after school ended as she became more and more introverted, and I really regret it since I should have stood by her and helped her emotionally. She committed suicide last week. That you are a burden they never wanted. I remember my mom calling me a slut when I was 15. I was cut off financially at 18, still in high school. I'm the family disappointment for not going to college. I did online classes so I wouldn't have to pay rent. Apparently online classes weren't good enough, so I still had to pay rent. My siblings still get everything paid for. 3 years ago I was going through money issues and couldn't afford groceries. So I didn't eat. My parents took my sister grocery shopping monthly and she was in college making something of herself. When I was 15. Used to live with my dad. Just the two of us in a room. Just one room, 10 feet x 10 feet square. Community toilet. You get the gist. So one day I cooked some instant noodles. Used a spoon to eat. Didn't have a fork. Dropped the spoon while eating, so in a hurry I grab another one. An hour or two later dad returns from work. Sees 2 spoons in the corner near the tap and utensils. Which were kept in a corner so that I can wash them when the water supply comes. He enters the room. Sees those 2 spoons and says, "What did you need the second spoon for? To fuck your ass?" First time I have told this to anyone. I translated what he said that day but couldn't translate the derogatory and abusive tone he used. Thank you for reading. Join the club. When you tell them you're sad and felt suicidal. Legit used to happen to me until I was like 9 and just didn't tell them I was sad after, haha. You're being dramatic. My dad once threw me into a wall and dragged me across the floor by my hair. I left for a few days because I didn't feel safe. But came back because I couldn't leave my sister. At the end of it all he said, "I'm not sorry for what I did and I won't apologize." Bonus, my mom told me that all the bad things that happened to me are my fault and I deserve them. Even the 2 accidents I was in? That weren't my fault. Yes. So I deserved to be molested by that guy. Too? You probably did. I'll remind her this next time something happens to her. Every time I look at your face I see him, telling me I'm the result of a rape. Then years and years later I regret never getting you aborted. I booked the appointment and everything. Cheers, Mum. I'll make you wish you had never been born. I'm so happy that you are not a gay pervert. But instead like girls. My dad said that a couple days before I wanted to do my coming out when I was 13. I just want to repeat something that you seriously not a dude said in one of their comments. These comments say a lot more about the people that said them than they do about you. I hope everyone in this thread is doing okay. Not really something that they say. But when they belittle their child in any way or make it as though their problems don't matter because they've been through worse. Telling a kid that their family doesn't like them. Telling them they'll break their face with a hammer or any other bodily harm. You are not my child. When I said I don't want to be religious anymore, ultra-religious family. And for the second time she said it. When she discovered I'm dating a Christian girl. I'm Jewish, for which I replied, it's okay. I got used to it. When they compare you to any other child. That shit cuts deep. My mother told me when I was 8. That nobody likes a fat girl. I wasn't even really overweight. That and many other things she said and did made me develop an eating disorder. At the age of 8. More than 30 years later. And a lot more mental abuse. I still struggle with the whole eating thing. Your sister brother are better than you. Learn from them. I'm a cashier and it was about 6 months into my job at my grocery store when one of the regulars I thought I liked came through my line. He was early 30s and for the first time had his young son with him. Maybe 6-7? I was ringing his order and we were chatting when his son stepped behind him into the empty check stand and was inspecting the scanner. He turned around and exclaims, "What are you doing? Stupid? Don't look into that laser. Why are you being stupid?" Lost all respect for the man. I've never called a child stupid and never will. Man up you little queer. I was maybe 9 or 10 at the time. If you turn out gay I'll drown you. I was around 13 then. Joke's on you dad. You're dead and I'm bisexual as fuck. Ha 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 ha. My girlfriend in high school was an LDR. I lived in Michigan. And she lived in Virginia. We met at church camp. We made ourselves officially boyfriend-girlfriend. And I hung up the phone and informed my mom, who softly scoffed and says, "Isn't there anyone around here you could date?" When I was 17 and had drawn a picture with several small jokes on it to give to someone, you know. No one thinks you're funny. It's all in your head. No shit. Dad. It's called a mental illness. Maybe if you didn't gaslight me and actually took me to the doctor like you were supposed to half a year ago, I wouldn't have tried to become new paint for a choo-choo train. But hey. What do I know? You dropped out of high school and I almost graduated with a perfect GPA if it wasn't for that bullshit. But. Yep. You know more about mental health than me. Definitely. My father, I wish I would have worn a condom while doing anal so it wouldn't have leaked down and you were born. To be fair. I'm about 80% sure it was a joke, but damn. That hurt regardless. My mother told me she'd be happy to attend my, at the time unborn, daughter's funeral. Daughter is nearly 2 years old now and I've avoided talking to my mother since she said that. As your mother I have to love you. But sometimes I really don't like you. When I was like 7 or something my dad told me I'd never get a job because of my shitty appearance. I wore a sock inside out. You're too young to be tired. Wish God sent me someone else. Speaking badly of the other parent. Kids love their parents regardless. It makes them feel conflicted and worthless. One Friday when I was somewhere in the 8-10-year-old range we were going shopping. We were walking towards the mall behind a group of young guys in their late teens early 20s. They were laughing and joking. Seemingly having the time of their life. It looked like a lot of fun. I pointed at them and told my mom that it reminded me of the song my dad used to play. "The Boys Are Back in Town," an old Thin Lizzy song. My mom looked straight ahead and bluntly answered, "You will never experience that." It wasn't exactly the kind of answer I had hoped to get. All I could get out of my mouth was, "What? You won't?" was her final saying on the matter. Way to ruin a Friday evening. After getting sexually assaulted my mom said, "You've always let toxic men enter your life. Are you surprised you got raped? Anyways. Your current boyfriend thinks you're used goods. He'll leave you soon." To everyone reading and commenting on this thread, you are amazing. And you are loved. If you can't think of anyone that would love you, think of me. A stranger on the internet. If people can hate without a reason, then I can love. When the child gives their best effort and the parent gets mad and says there's no way, you're so stupid, you don't know how to do this. So you're obviously being lazy, and punishes the child for being lazy instead of teaching them how to do it right. If you turn your brother into the police for pointing a gun at you and threatening to kill you, I'll disown you. That was at 15 years old. Or, no man wants a fat girl. You'll die alone if you don't lose weight. That was at 22 years old. Thanks, Dad. There is a lot of colorism in our culture, and a relative commented how dark I looked, and I was taking swimming lessons at that time. So my mom slapped me hard in front of her and stopped taking me to swimming class. Later she gifted me a cream called Fair and Lovely and told me the doctor asked me to apply it.